Alright guys, how are y'all doing? I've got about 40 minutes before my babysitter heads out. I've got to watch the kids again, so I figured about time I'd do some of this. I've been, like I said, I've been building lots of Warmachine models and getting bases on the ones that I've already built. Like you can see, here's my Temple Flame Guard. I've got them based and on their popsicle sticks so that I can spray them, get them primed. Making bases for my heavy warjacks. So he'll stand something akin to this. I'll have to pin the warjack onto the base, I feel, because I'm going to have to prime and paint the base there. But I've been doing all sorts of stuff like that. Got a whole set of deliverers built. Still got the Flame Guard command to do, a dervish to build. Bought some more Warmachine models as well, just because I've got to, just because I kid. But just cause, so I can get a bigger Warmachine army and play a little bit. Looks like it might rain. I was going to take the boys to the swimming pool after this, but if it's going to rain, I'm not going to do that, because nobody would enjoy that. So here we go. It's a little shaked up. You can see I got sand in my thing here. We'll need a little bit more paint than that. There we go. Alright, now get some water. See, I've got a big brush. This is going to be a lot of over brushing onto the base here. You can see I've got, I realized that I needed to do this before I painted the spirit tendrils, because if I didn't, then I would just have to go back over and repaint these spirit tendrils, which leads me to a very bad joke, which I'll tell you because, you know, I've got time, and you don't come to my channel without expecting a bad joke. But years and years ago, there were these guys who were hired to paint a church. And they were working on the church and they were painting, and they realized that all the paint they had bought was not going to be enough to cover the church if they kept painting it as thick as they wanted to. And so the two guys, they talked to each other. They're like, you know, let's just pour some thinner into this. We can make it stretch a little bit. It'll be a little thinner than normal, but yeah, it'll make it. So they pour in some thinner and they keep painting, and then they realize as they keep going that even that's not going to be enough. So they sneak a little bit more thinner into the paint and start painting, you know, where it's almost half and half paint and thinner. And finally they keep doing this. They have to thin like 3 or 4 more times, and they get to the end. They're covering the last little bit of the church, and this huge rainstorm comes. It's just a deluge, and it washes all the paint that they had done for that day off the church. And they're standing there dumbfounded because the rain starts, it pours down, and as soon as all the paint's gone, the rain stops. And so they're like, what's going on? And rain stops, the clouds part, and the sun comes out, and this voice comes booming down out of heaven. Repaint and thin no more. That's a bad joke. Bad joke, bad joke, bad joke. And I won't bother explaining that one because it's that bad. But anyway, and there we go. It's making the ground look a little bit better for old Nagash. More deserty. I'm gonna have to come back over and go over all the. Ooh, I got some. The thing about cheap Walmart brushes is that they are in fact cheap and from Walmart. And they do not hold their bristles in their ferrules very well. But inspired by Warboss Tay, I have made a video of me gaming in the World of Warships game, which is in closed beta, but they've released where you, if you make a video, you can now post it up on YouTube. It'll be an open beta probably early this next week, I would think. Ooh. And anybody who wants to can play the game. It's a play for free game, though. If you make a couple easy payments in $19.95, you can get some advantages over your opponents. Like in this one, I think there's premium consumables where you can have a damage control party that puts out fires faster than other people's, that sort of thing. And they're not big advantages, but they're advantages enough and can make a difference in a close game. But it's definitely not pay to win. You can play and not pay a dime and still have a lot of fun. Just like World of Tanks, you can play and not spend any real life money and have a grand old time. But yeah, here we go. You can hear my kids outside playing in the coming gloom. Luckily, the temperatures have dropped in the past couple of days here, and like today's high just barely got into the 90s, as opposed to being 96, 97, 98, and in some cases very close to 100 that they have been over the past few weeks. And again, you can see painting in amongst all these little spirit goobles on the ground. It gets pretty touch and go here. I'm going to have to switch brushes in just a second. Do I have a brush over here? I do not. Well, I do, but these are not going to be base painting brushes. I bought some Kolinsky Sable fancy pants brushes to see if they were actual fancy and pantsy enough to justify their cost. They were about $12 or $13 each. And evidently they came from England because it took a month and a half to ship them here. And it shows that even though if it says Amazon Prime, doesn't mean that it's right around the corner. Best thing is I didn't have to pay shipping from England because thanks Amazon Prime. Just had to pay Amazon Prime money. You know, since we live out in the boonies, there's some things that it's cheaper and more cost effective, or just to order from Amazon Prime, or they just don't have it. Like a lot of, like the nearest gaming store where I could buy paint and paint supplies is, you know, about an hour away, which I just found out there's an actual GW store about the same distance away down in Greenville, South Carolina. So I'll have to go down there. Especially once the Age of Sigmar hits. I've seen some quote-unquote leaked stuff. One thing, the rules are all going to be free. And leaving it a very open game, which to me, I really kind of like that move. But it kind of shows how bad Fantasy was doing, in that they're having to give away stuff to see if they can get new players. I mean, GW giving stuff away, that is amazing. You can hear my little boys down coming inside. We're going to have to get surgery done on my oldest boy because he has developed a hernia. Probably he was born with it and it's just now expressed itself. You can hear him hooting and hollering down there, so obviously not hurting him. But it has to be fixed before any damage comes from it. And so I'm just glad that my wife is a doctor, because he stepped out of the bathtub and the hernia was very obvious. And it's like, holy crap, oh no. And she was like, oh, it's just a hernia, let's see. And she did some things. She's like, okay, it's not hurting him, it's not doing this, it's not doing that. Oh, we can get it to kind of go down a little bit. Okay, it's fine, we'll just need to see a specialist. Whereas if I had been alone with the boy and he stepped out of the thing and I saw the hernia, we'd have been in the emergency room. And then they would have told us, oh, he'll be fine, you just need to see a specialist. That'll be $800. You know, and that's, you know, $800, that's almost half of one of those new giant Warlord Titans that came out in Forge World. Almost half, not quite. But anyway, well, there we go. There's a good first coat of brown. Okay, yeah, I'm hearing my son crying downstairs, so I will have to go in just a second and console them. Anyway, 10 minutes should be good, but you can see I'm going to do progressively lighter. That was canvas on the base here, and I'm going to go back over it with khaki, really much lighter brushing, and then I'll probably go Fortress Gray on the rocks and do some more upscaling on that. Anyway, I'm also going to try out a new video editing program. I've been using Windows Movie Maker, which has not been bad, but there's just not much you can do with it. And so there was a sale again on Amazon for was it Corel? Was it Corel or was it the Sony? Shoot, whichever one was not $300. There's one, Sony's I think was 300 something, and the Corel movie editor was $70. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take a shot at that. It'll be an early 4th of July present for me. But anyway, Nagash says, see you later. Make sure to raise the undead. He's always disappointed in The Walking Dead that the living still keep going. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.